Hi, I'm Madonna from New Leaf Natural Therapies, and we've been treating autism and Aspergers now for about 10 years. And it's been one of those things, I'm sure everyone knows this, it's increasing at such a rapid rate. When I was at school, it was about 1 in 10,000 kids. Now we're looking at about 1 in 25 boys, which is just phenomenal, the increase in this. Now, yes, there are genes that actually are being linked with Asperger's and autism, and it seems to be triggered by certain toxicity in the system, whether or not it's vaccine toxins, whether it's pesticides. You have to have a genetic ability to get autism and Asperger's, but on the other hand, there are a million things that can actually trigger that at this stage. And I think that's the problem medically, is they want one cause for everything. So of course, the people out there trying to blame vaccines, say, the doctors want that to be, if vaccines cause autism, they want it to cause autism in everyone, otherwise they don't believe it's a cause. If it's pesticides, and there are much higher levels of autism in places where there are huge pesticide use. So there are definite links to toxins in the body if you've got the genetic ability to actually get these disorders. Now, one of the things that is known about Asperger's and autism is that the brain's inflamed. So basically, the brain being inflamed is linked in with lots of things. It's not just autism and Asperger's, it's also anxiety and depression. And basically, it's an inflammation that means that the brain just can't think properly. This is not a surprise, but basically, inflammation of the brain is what ends up causing, say, dementia, 20, 30, 40 years down the track. And many drugs are known to be linked to the progression of dementia. But back to our kids these days, what we need to be doing is looking at, okay, so yes, we've got these moods and behaviors that we need to manage on a daily basis. And if we're really lucky, the main symptoms are things like high intelligence, and some of these kids are obviously, they're all beautiful children, but some of them, their brain simply does not give them the opportunity to be calm and to be nurturing. And especially the children who are non-verbal kids, quite often there are these things called opioids that are affecting their brain. So what can be happening is that there are, say, casein opioids from dairy, or gliadin opioids from wheat. So two of the biggest things that we need to do with autistic and Asperger kids is really looking at their diet, and quite often getting them on a low allergy, low intolerance diet is hugely important. So people would have heard of things like the keto diet or the GAPS diet, and these are the type of things, or specific carbohydrate diet. So basically these are the type of things that help to take most of the big bad allergies and intolerances out of the diet, so that the brain can get less inflamed. There is a massive gut-brain connection. If we eat something that inflames our gut, it can make our brain inflamed. With some people it can be very, very quick. With others it can be a slow burn. So you need to find out what those are. Now, the problem with blood tests and things like that is there are different things that show different problems. Allergies and intolerances are two totally different tests. You can't find out everything with one test. This ends up costing quite a lot of money, but you need to know what's causing that inflammation. My personal preference is always kinesiology, but just because there are acupuncture points that access the immune system. So by utilizing these points, and there are also muscle tests that ask about different areas of the brain. So you can actually find out whether or not, say, wheat is putting the body into a survival pattern and shutting down the liver and the gut and the immune system. And if that's the case, this is not a healthy choice. So we sort of need to really start looking at the fact that when we've got things like autism and Asperger's, we actually have higher nutritional needs. Just the fact that we've got something like that means that the nutritional needs are higher in the body, because the brain is inflamed. So it's about and once again, all kids are different. You have to find something that works with your child. So you need to find nutrients that actually help to reduce that inflammation, support the brain function, and help to detox the body. Some DNA has already been damaged so much it won't be able to be reversed. But it's about finding the best place for your child to be with less inflammation and less toxicity. That can only help them long term. The other thing about autism and Asperger's is that there are so many natural therapies that can help. So we do a process called LEAP. LEAP is a kinesiology process. It was developed by Dr. Charles Krebs. I've been doing it for around 12, 13 years, and I've got two other practitioners, Georgia and Kat, who also do components of the LEAP process. So it's really, and what it does is integrates the brain. So it finds out whether or not the left, right sides of the brain are communicating properly. It finds out whether or not the brain is shutting down and going into fight, flight, or freeze with specific moods or behaviors or voices. Let's face it, sometimes it's a mother or a teacher or a father's voice that activates stress in a child so that, you know, they shut down and can't focus and be functional. So we can, with the LEAP program in kinesiology, you can help to start reintegrating these little pathways in the brain. Things like massage, we know that kids with Asperger's and autism quite often love that touch because they've got such low levels of dopamine and serotonin in their brain, some of them, that basically things like massage helps to increase that dopamine and serotonin because it feels so lovely to their body. And it's one of those things, because they get to calm down and chill out and build a relationship with a practitioner who they can talk to and relate to. It's a wonderful way of increasing good quality brain hormones without medications, because pharmaceuticals, they can be calming down anger or frustration or rage and that sort of thing, but they can also be messing with other brain nutrients and chemicals as well. Where one of the things that you really need to think about is better gut-brain connection. So there are probiotics that have been found to sort of support anxiety and stress and nervous energy. So making sure that the gut is really healthy is so important. So there are many ways to sort of work with children with Asperger's and autism. And like I say, we've been doing it for many years. And it's really about finding out what works for your child. It is a process that takes time, because just because we know a supplement is going to do good doesn't mean you can get him or her to take it. So it's something that you have to work with slowly but surely with your practitioner. Both Georgia and I are naturopath kinesiologists. Kat is a kinesiologist, musculoskeletal therapist, and a yoga instructor. So we all are quite multi-modality in the way that we work, and Rob has techniques of quantum consciousness healing, acupuncture and massage that also helps him to be in there counselling with these kids, so that once again they can find a connection and really start to discussing the things that are stressing them out in their lives, getting it, because sometimes we can't talk to our parents. So it's important to find a therapist who works for your child and really helps to reduce those day-to-day stresses so they don't become long-term issues. Hopefully that's helpful, and I'll see you again soon.